Today I listened to a lecture that felt like a hug to my high school self, and knowing that I'm definitely not the only person to have ever dealt with bullying or social ostracism, I wanted to share a little bit of what we talked about. We were learning about development and how adolescent brains are more vulnerable and have increased social sensitivity. And for about 3 slides, I sat there and did not take a single note because so many feelings just clicked in my brain. I felt understood, and I felt understood in a way that only really happens if you learn the reason why we react and why we feel the way that we did. This started with my professor saying the words, "Our brains feel social ostracism as a physical pain." But she didn't stop there. Teens have a heightened sensitivity to negative social cues, and social exclusion can lead to decreased self-esteem and rumination. Did I know these things prior to this lecture? Yes. First-hand knowledge. I am the research. I remember so clearly the pain of feeling like all your friends hated you and couldn't bother to tell you why. It absolutely feels like a pain. It feels like your stomach dropping and at the same time your chest is constricting. It feels like opening your mouth to say something, but your voice tightens and you're gasping for air. I remember being so aware of every single detail that proved they were purposefully excluding me, but at the same time feeling like I was just making it up. I remember being told I was making it up and how that would lead me down cycles of rumination where I was trying to figure out the answer of why these things were happening, asking questions I knew I wasn't going to get an answer to. But even though I knew all these things, and I've grown so much since then and don't really hold any resentment for that time, it still felt so validating to hear these things from somebody who actually studies behavior. Like, to know that my reaction wasn't crazy and it was just how my brain processed the information. It is so important to understand how our brains work and how they process information. Honestly, I think that's a key part of being able to manage behavior and not let outside external situations impact our life. But it is also such a hard skill to learn, and often it's a skill we learn from reflecting back on hard situations rather than something we pick up as we go. Trust me, I know. The situation that I talked about definitely impacted how I entered into friendships well after the fact, because I'd never really dealt with how the situation had changed my brain and changed how I viewed my emotions. And if you're in high school right now and things don't really make sense, just know that maybe 5 years down the line, you'll be taking a random college class and it'll all just click. So just hang in there. Some people suck. Honestly, they're probably dealing with so much more insecurity than you really know. And the best thing that you could do for yourself is work on you. And if that means cracking open a psychology textbook, then I say do it.